Welcome to this introductory video about the Delta Module 3, which is run through the University of Cambridge, and this is a course offered by Good Hope Studies. So the Delta Module 3 is an extended assignment which is submitted in June or December each year, and it involves carrying out research of a learner or a learner group and designing a course that is tailored for their needs. I'd like you to pause this video and have a look at the handbook. Here are 4 questions for you to answer while you read the handbook. So pause the video now. So here are a few of the specialisms you can choose from. I chose the most popular. Which one do you think is the most popular of all the specialisms? According to the 2017 Examiners Report, 28% of candidates chose teaching exam classes. English for academic purposes was at 12%, young learners also 12%, and teaching one-to-one 12%. I suggest you choose a topic that is interesting for you and one where there's sufficient literature available to you, and also one where you've got a bit of experience teaching that type of class. So how many parts are there? See that there's 5 parts, and here are the word counts for each of the sections. So you need to stick to these word counts quite strictly. Assignments that are over 4,600 words or under 3,900 words won't be marked. You can be 10% over or under the word count for each of these sections. Be careful of using images that contain text in your assignment, because the text will be counted towards your word count. You need to use in-text referencing rather than footnotes. Be careful of relying on bullet points or writing in note form, because you'll lose marks in other ways. And don't put a word count after each section, as this will be counted towards your total word count. Some candidates use incorrect hyphenation or put 2 words together incorrectly. Don't do this, because you'll lose marks on the quality of your written English. So here is how the assignment is assessed. 25% of your marks go to how well you understand the topic. This includes reviewing the relevant literature and showing that you understand the key issues of the topic area and applying this knowledge to your experience of teaching. 20% of your marks goes to your needs analysis and the commentary related to that. So you need to identify the key principles of needs analysis and diagnostic testing. You then apply that to your learners or your learner group. You do an analysis of their needs, and then you discuss the priorities of these needs. Then you design a course, and you need to show understanding of the key principles of syllabus and course design, and you justify this in terms of your learner needs that you discussed in the previous section. 20% of your marks goes to assessment, so you need to demonstrate an understanding of the different types of assessment, and then you include some assessment procedures that relate to the course you've proposed and also your learners' needs. 10% of your marks goes to presentation and organization, so this includes showing that you can write in an academic style, using academic language and appropriate referencing techniques. It also goes towards the presentation, the coherence and organization of your assignment, and how clearly you present your arguments and the quality of your ideas. Plagiarism is something to be aware of, so I suggest you pause this video and read the document that includes information about plagiarism. So what is it and what you can do to avoid it. So as I'm sure you've gathered from that document, there there's more to plagiarism than what meets the eye. Bear in mind that Cambridge scans in all assignments that they receive, and your assignment will be checked against those using an electronic system. So be careful of plagiarizing. I'd like you to pause this video now and read the handbook about part 1. Can you highlight the guiding questions and highlight any key points that you can read from the commentary there? Once you've done that, I'll talk you through some tips from the examiner's reports. So some tips from the examiner's reports. Firstly, about your chosen specialism. Be careful not to narrow it down too much. Focus on the specialism and not on a specific skill. So for example, you'll want to focus on teaching exam classes rather than teaching writing in exam classes. Be careful not to talk too specifically about your teaching context. You need to focus on your specialism in general, and you'll focus on your teaching context in part 2. Then you need to try and mention between 4 and 6 issues related to your specialism. Here you talk about the implications of each issue, so you can bring in your own experience of teaching. You can talk about the implications after you've discussed each issue, or have a section after the key issues at the end where you talk about implications. So avoid saying generalized things about classes. So something generalized would be exam classes are highly motivated. That's not always necessarily true. Some exam classes may be highly unmotivated because they're only doing it to please their parents or for school grades, and other classes might also be highly motivated. So make sure that the key issues you talk about are specific for your chosen specialism. It's important to take a critical stance when using literature and offer a personal opinion for the different ideas that you read about, and don't back up obvious points with quotes. So here are the next steps for you. You need to choose your specialism, check the submission dates, and make sure that you've discussed with your supervisor what specialism you're going to do. Also have a look at the suggested reading list and start your research. Write your part 1 and submit that part 1 to your supervisor, who will review it and give you some feedback. The supervisors will flag mistakes and indicate where things are written in the wrong place. They won't correct errors, but they will give you some tips on how to rectify them and perhaps suggest some further readings. So candidates are encouraged to proofread for typos and to use effective formatting right from the start. So good luck with part 1, and get in touch when you have some questions.